Hello everyone, this is Geek Topology, and today we are taking a deep look into the abyss of idiocy. Let this gentleman explain himself.
The Xbox Series S could be faster than the PS5.
Every single IGN is going ham on this being dumb. So let's take a look at the real specs. Well, we have the Xbox Series S, custom NVMe SSD. Okay, we knew that the Series X will come with that. A 1440p resolution and up to 120 frames per second. Okay. Ray tracing. Okay. So let's see. RAM 16 gigabytes in the Series X, 10 gigabytes on the Series S, GDDR6. GDDR6. Okay. 8. The memory bandwidth is 8 gigabytes at 224 gigabytes per second, and 2 gigabytes at 56 gigabytes per second. The CPU is an XA Zen 2 3.8 gigahertz per yep. Is an estimate between 3.6 and 3.8 gigahertz. And of course the GPU custom AMD Radeon RDNA 4 4 teraflops. Okay. Let's see the PS5. Zen 2 base GPU, 8 cores, 3.5 gigahertz. Okay. 10.28 teraflops. Okay. Variable frequency at 2.23 gigahertz. So I think we can kinda see why this man think. Well, it's 3.5 versus between 3.6 to 3.8. It's equally as into 8 cores. Okay. Now, what can I say? RDNA 4 on the graphic card GPU is complicated, right? It's not. Let's go to the whiteboard. What is happening here? Well, we have this one processor at 3.8 gigahertz, and we have this other one at 3.5 gigahertz. Obviously, this is more than this. But on teraflops, as we saw, we are at 10 teraflops versus 4 teraflops. Okay, so this is 4 teraflops, and I don't want to get the unit tera magic carp. Okay, that flops versus 10 o 28. What does this means? The intervals that the processor takes to complete a cycle are faster here. So you need less energy in theory to perform better. But that's not all the thing, because this one will use the same kind of SSD as the Series X, and that has a limitation. The PS5 will use, instead of, let's say this is the NVMe unit, why do you correct me only when I... Okay, this is the NVMe. No, what's going on? This has a bandwidth that can transfer things towards the system, and it will be allocated on the... God damn it. On the RAM slot. So the RAM slot. Then it will go to the CPU, right? Then it will go to the GPU, and there it will be translated into coordinates to be displayed on your monitor. That's how it works. Now, this is the structure that they are using on the Xbox Series S, that has under... let me check this real quick. Yeah, 224 gigabytes per second. The PlayStation 5 can reach 5,000 gigabytes per second. Obviously, between this and this, which one is better? This. That's not the only thing. This structure is being used in the Series S and the Series X. The PS5 uses something different. It takes from the hard drive, the NVMe drive, and sends it to the RAM directly on the GPU. What does this mean? Latency frequencies will be reduced. The amount of RAM being occupied for the main CPU will be completely gone, so you can do a lot more of artificial intelligence. And since the refresh rate of the instructions on the CPU will be a lot faster, guess what? It will be doing it better. And also, it is RDNA. So if you are transferring all the data to the GPU, you can actually access the whole array in a split second and keep all the data stored allocated in the RAM here. That means all the operations that will be done between here and here are gone. Let me be clear. The PS5 doing this quite great structure is getting itself future-proof for at least 3 years. But this is the big but. There's a issue in all of this. This kind of development is not currently being applied to almost anything. The first GPUs that will actually transfer directly from the hard drive are being released in a couple weeks. The NVIDIA 3080 and the NVIDIA 3090. So, to recap all of this, will the Xbox Series S be better? No. Will the Xbox Series X will be better? Also, no. The PS4 will do a lot more with this kind of capabilities. And I'm sure most of, if not all, the developers are currently working hard on this new structure because it will be implemented in future graphic cards. So PC instructions will need this kind of structure too. The array of the memory slots around the CPU is actually better because they are all connecting directly, and the GPU has its own share of memory bandwidth. What this means, it's faster. It's plain faster. You can have even more teraflops. And yes, the Series X is going 12 teraflops, right? But this kind of instruction flow will reduce the capabilities of any system you're trying to run. Graphics on the PS5 will be going directly to the GPU, and that will be freeing a lot of power to do raw calculations on the CPU. Don't get distracted by raw numbers. Learn what's going on. Learn how to code, and you'll get the reality on this, because all this techno babbling that IGN is doing is crap. It's crap. You need to learn how the flow of data goes and how much can it be processed by any individual component without getting instructions on a bottleneck. This goes clean out of any bottleneck. You take information here, you transfer it here, it's allocated on RAM here, and it can be allocated permanently until you stop using the whole renderization algorithm. So basically, if you have the instruction here, it can be kept forever while the machine is still running. That means you can have different engines servicing the same amount of space on RAM, playing concurrently. So the results here will be quite great. You will be seamlessly changing not only scenery but game. You will be able to plug uh, a lot of different modules to run lighting. We are seeing this on Unreal Engine 5. Is a different full-on module to run 8K textures, while the CPU is doing virtually nothing. It's all GPU, and then you do the change on from, let's say, Spider-Man to God of War. Yep. What will happen? Well, you still have this allocation for Spider-Man and this allocation for God of War. What you gonna do? Switch allocations. You don't need to kill your machine doing this hard swap between games, because the engines will be running on the background seamlessly. The PS5 is a beast. I'm against their policies. I'm not buying one because their policies, but the PS5 is a beast. To be a $500 machine, this will be incredible. If it's $600, it's the right price for this. That's all for today. I hope you learn how to code on the future, and well, see you later.